mean, the problem has always been twofold. One, it's a question of intensity amongst those that already agree with us. But the second problem is a much more difficult one to diagnose, and that is really a story of the modern Republican Party. The modern Republican Party, I would argue, has essentially lost any connection to real new ideas. Their only idea is less government. And so if you are trying to out anti-government another Republican in an electoral contest, then the NRA's imprimatur, their endorsement, is the most important, because who's more anti-government than the organization that argues for the armed insurrection of the people against government? And so over time, the badge that is provided to Republicans by the gun lobby has become more and more and more important. And so that is a problem that I am probably not going to be able to solve, but I can solve the other one, and that question of intensity, which eventually will simply just change the composition of elected bodies, is probably on the verge of happening.
So tell us, you have spent, Ryan, a little bit of the last couple of days back on the Hill, and specifically in some Republican congressional offices. That we're not here to be partisan, but could you talk a little bit about kind of the environment as you sense it, and kind of the attitudes as you are feeling them now? Do you feel like the attention and the intensity has died down at all?
Well, I definitely feel like the intensity in certain areas has died down. People don't like to focus on an issue that is so looming that, I mean, the issue of gun violence can affect anyone, anywhere, at any time. And if you let that sink into anybody's mindset, they won't want to hold on to that for too long. And I don't blame anybody for that. I don't want to think about that at any moment. But definitely with the people that I met and the people that we got to speak with, they were trying to throw around, there was definitely some misinformation going around about how they like to say, organizations like where I'm working with March for Our Lives, that we are against the Second Amendment, which is just simply not true. That we are for common sense regulations on weaponry to make sure that the criminals of this country would be stopped from having these weapons, and that they say that we are attacking law-abiding citizens, which is simply not the case. I mean, the last time I checked, asking someone to fill out an extra form doesn't attack your freedoms. But simply with all the lawmakers that we did get to meet, they were saying things like reforming mental health in this country. And while they would push that instead of the gun violence issue, they would also not really have a fair enough solution to mental health crisis in this country. And I could say simply, if we would fund centers when we would need to, and if we could potentially offer assistance in schools, especially at the youngest levels, since many people in this country go undiagnosed with any mental health disabilities or any mental health issues. And especially we have to separate the idea that if somebody has any mental health disabilities, then they are also a dangerous individual, which is not the case.